All right, guys, I'm doing the double recording. So I'm doing a live show on Facebook now. And the only downside of it is I can't put those videos on YouTube. So I actually think you can download them now, but I'm so exhausted now. I don't know if I can even do anymore. So I either have to stop doing the live or maybe figure out a way to do it live on YouTube at the same time. All right, guys, I was going to make this, the top 5 mistakes people make, but I've actually realized if you can't get past the first one, it's all downhill. It doesn't matter what you do after that. And before last Tuesday, I was making the mistake too. So, you guys need to, I think the biggest mistake people make is not, and all the other things fall into the same category. Every other mistake that people make is a result of this original mistake that they make. And the mistake is not being aware of the level of consciousness these things have, or being aware of what level of consciousness they're operating at, maybe. That they are walking around in a world where the things are going want, 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 want. And they're trying to kind of match that up with the body language, but it's not working. So, and if you said, well, it's a friendship and people are friends for life, half of these dogs are saying, Mother of God. That's why these dogs get dumped and everything else. They're one, the people, and that's what, so this is where the mistake that dog trainers make. So now they've got this dog. They're not immediately thinking of the level of the consciousness the dog has. They're taking that from the owner. The owner has no clue. If you gave this owner 40 dogs, they may not be aware of the level of consciousness dogs have because they have an excuse for everything the dog does. So there's an explanation. It doesn't have anything to do with them not being aware. Any problem the dog has doesn't have anything to do with the people not being aware. That's the problem. And that's why when I meet dogs, I don't meet dogs. I'm just there, they're there, I'm there. If you said you went to the dog park and there was 2 dogs and they were just there, yeah, okay. That has a better chance of a long-term relationship. I went to the dog park and this one dog came up and was putting its paws all over. You're headed down a path once you do that. If you're the dog that's putting your paws all over the other dog, it's just you're on the wrong path. You've got to, and I'm not like some kook that way, vegan or anything, but you have to approach it more Zen-like, that this thing is looking at me and making conclusions about me all the time. So I should exploit that. I should make it make the conclusions I want it to make. It's that exploitable. Not I'm going to get it, I'm going to put it on a leash, and I'm going to start giving it corrections. The second you do that, they don't like you. When I see videos of trainers, and I'm going to give you guys, any of you that do videos, props, because you're better than the people that don't do videos, because we don't know what their work is. So I can tell you, I give anybody that does videos props, that you're willing to put yourself out there. And I've got 15,000 videos on YouTube. They'll never get rid of me on the internet. Never. I can go back and look at videos and not have any clue what I was doing. Or if you said, well, here in this video, you don't seem to be aware of the dog's level of consciousness. I don't, and they're going to have different levels of consciousness. And yes, there are different levels of intelligence in dogs. I mean, you can have highly intelligent dogs that aren't that sensitive. So, or just aren't that malleable that you can, get them that interested in you. But if you said, it seems like all the dogs you have high food drive, so you don't really understand. I make them that way. I convince them that's how they are. I convince them that's who they are. I'm aware of their level of consciousness, and I have developed, and you guys can do this at your house too, honestly, just always putting that dog out of your eye line. not talking to them. Say, if you said you're always moving towards dogs, I'm not at all. I've made it a point, and now it's second nature. But like John Henry, I mean, he's been through a lot in his life. I'm not going to come up to him and be so condescending to think that that's what he's looking for. And now he follows me everywhere, so I know none of them want that, I guess. That's why I'm so sensitive to that. And if you're going to get one in for training, I think what I see people go wrong is they don't put a big bunch of movement in the beginning. And if you said, why is that important? Because that says who you are. And that makes you fun, honestly. Saying don't move doesn't make you any fun at all. Saying don't move makes you like shoe bottom, cornering Molly, and making Molly just sit there. The look on Molly's face when shoe bottom is doing that is exactly what these people, as dogs look like. So people don't get any movement. They start out trying to teach the dog to stay or giving little pop corrections, pop, pop, correct, correct. You're going to learn this dog is saying to itself, I don't know who this idiot is, but this person is not a part of my free agency. And I think that that's what I've discovered. You've got to have these animals operating. You have to create that. You have to create the feeling that this obedience is part of free agency, or they're not going to do it. They're not going to default to it, and they're not going to do it. So if I said that, if you said to me, as a serious pro, who do you believe dogs are? My answer would be individuals that are extremely open for suggestion. You can see videos where they're all standing there. None of those individuals in that group have an idea, and one of them comes running out. Well, that's the idea we're all going to go with, and it involves running. I see that now. Unless we were somehow capable of, when they took off running, being right there next to them, saying, "Yo, dude," they see us as inferior. So you've got to simulate motion, and you've got to simulate that. I just posted those recall videos where the other dogs, when one of them moves abruptly, they can't help themselves. If you said, well, that's innate in them, because when they see prey darting and stuff, if they don't innately move, they miss out on a chance because, time matters. I'd say, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's exploit that. So the bottom line, if we took every dog and said, not what do you want corrected, and said to these people, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? And exploit both of those. If you said there's people out there that can take people and exploit their strengths and weaknesses, I'd say, oh, absolutely. They study it. They study it. So that's what you guys need to be. If you said, well, I'm a dog trainer and I'm, and I want you guys to understand the best behaviorists in the world are self-taught. They don't go to school. They don't go to school. That whole vernacular clouds people. I don't even understand it. Once these people start talking R plus and this, that, and the other, there's an article that somebody wrote, but you've got to just, there's a vernacular among serious pros, and it isn't involving these things. If we just said to ourselves, dogs are individuals open for suggestion, and my job is to come up with these suggestions, and then hence, I can operate this dog just above free agency. And I see people making a huge demarcation line between doing the obedience and all through. So now, yay, all through, yay. Okay, what are we celebrating? The end of our, exercises? So now this dog is thinking, let me just drag through this shit so we can have the party. The party has to be, I don't see, people aren't animated. If you said dogs model behavior and you act kind of kooky and animated, I say, yeah, I do. And it is acting, when we have the thing at Jackie's house, I don't know if Jackie's watching because she doesn't even know this yet. She's got cabins and everything. It's going to be great, you guys. It's going to be one of his guys. But, we are going to have animation. You've got to have acting classes. Pretend they don't understand that. You can act like, I can act like I'm leaving and mine believe it because I've set that up, and I understand that that's their weakness. So the very first thing you guys should do if you're a dog trainer, especially if you've got them in a room, you guys, please don't have a leash on in a room. Please don't have a leash on in a room. If it's that someone's going to open the door and the dog's going to run out, we have to lock the door. We need to start out the relationship not on a leash. You're a stranger to this dog. You're a stranger, and humans are strange anyway. That's why it's got all the weird behaviors, and that's why these people are dropping it off for serious professional training, because they're at their wits' end with Fluffy's bad behavior. When in reality, it's them. Because if you said, the average American is highly skilled in installing behaviors, all these people know how to do is pet them on the head. Second you do that, do not touch these things. If the only thing you did was not touch them, and I mean, if you're able to say to a dog all through, or whatever your release command is, and I'm going to tell you, if you want to spot a rank novice, watch the video up to the point they say okay, and then shut it off, and never acknowledge that person again. Either that or tell them stop using okay. I mean, that's been dog training 101 for, that I know of, 63 years. So people that are still doing it are 64 years behind. And the other pet peeve is the word yes. You guys have got to stop doing that. Please don't use that word. Yes, it doesn't sound good. It's on the end. You can't make it tiny. If you said, I'm looking for a micro movement from this dog, I want to ask it just to move its foot. And it moves its foot, and yes! I mean, that's not going to work. If your praise cannot expand and contract, you're just operating on one plane. You've got to be able to say to this dog, I see everything you're doing. And if you said, why do yours watch you so much? Because they understand I speak the language and I'm going to say something. That's why they're watching me. They understand I speak the language and I'm going to say something. Once they, and if you've got to say to yourself, what would they say to the other dog? A lot of dogs would say to the other dog, what's the deal with that one? They would say, you can pick up bits and pieces of what it's saying, but for the most part, it's just babbling on. You can pick up bits and pieces of what it's saying. Just like if you had a friend that didn't speak that good of English, and you were trying to explain, you can pick up bits and pieces, but mostly speaking it, a language we don't understand. And so we just, at some point, the friendship becomes distant unless one of them can learn the language. I mean, that's what it is. I've got a lot of friends that don't speak the language, and I think of myself as a ridiculous idiot because these people can speak a little bit of English, and I can't speak any of what their language is. People want me to do subtitles and stuff, and so I want to do. Carolyn, what are you doing? Alice, I see you, girl. This is everything. Oh, this is everything you need to know. So here's what I want you guys to think of. If the very first thing you do, if the dog is a very conscious being and it's walking around, I just think if it was me. Now I'm meeting these buffoons that have their hands all over me. Not only am I not having any reaction, I'm trying to get away from them. But they don't notice this. They're now pulling me back over there. Now they're jerking on me. It's like, who are these idiots? If you just bounce into the scene of this dog's life, even if you're in a small room, and you guys need to develop techniques how to do this, you can use the pager. If, and Cher will tell you, anybody that I've helped over Skype will tell you, all you got to do is turn your back, and that song going to be right behind you. He's going to be right behind you. The fact that you're not exploiting that from the beginning is, the whole thing is going south. You're training it, you're doing corrections, you're showing the owner how to do corrections. All this dog is saying to itself is, God, let this end. If you think that, if the dog believes it's operating just below free agency, and I know that's not a term that's widely used because I just made it up or whatever, but, free agency being totally seeking what it wanted to do. That's what free agency is. When you see these dogs, when they're just, people have them in a group and they're just all standing there. These dogs don't even know what free agency is. It'd be like if you went to a cocktail party and it'd be like, come on, people, what do we need to put some music on or something? They're all just standing there. As you see my dogs, if anything, they have a hyper-developed free agency. They're immediately willing to run around and do all these things. So you do want to develop that. And the reason is because I'm exploiting the fact that they believe That's what they want to do. They believe that that's what they want to do. So you've got to stop touching them. That ends up to them being, if you said, what is the number one mistake? Going at them at all. Everything you do from the time you meet that dog, this is your whole trajectory. There's no, anytime you're coming at something, you can come at something in the beginning, but eventually you're driving the momentum that way. Let me just put it that way. If you're coming at it, the momentum is going that way. So if this is you, it's kinetic, you guys. I promise you, it's not. I don't want to, it's honestly the fact that it is only that makes it easy. It makes it easy because we're not aware of the level of conscience. They're innate. They can't help themselves. If we move away and if we augment that with a little bit of abruptness, we can make up for the fact that we really can't take off running and stuff. You know what I mean? We can fake that part. We can fake that part. That we do have an abruptness. Well, was it taken off? It seemed like it was taken off. It seems like that's who it is. Dogs need to view us the way we view them. Their level of consciousness is able to absorb the fact that you got to watch this thing. Based on what I've seen, it only goes away, just as a dynamic, So if you said, well, where do we incorporate the pager in that and make that the nonverbal cue? And you guys have seen it. I can have them flashy healing in 2 or 3 days because these suckers believe we're going somewhere. Not it's coming at me. It's that simple, you guys. It's kinetic. It's kinetic. You're here. Patty, I want you to bring one of those pit bulls for training. I do, girl, I do. Because if they're good, this is what you guys need to understand about training. If they're good, training makes them amazing. Honestly, that's what it is. It will make. That's why all these people come back to me when they had their dog trained. In their mind, I'm part of this golden age syndrome of this amazing dog. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I'm part of their golden age syndrome, and that dog only has one lifetime. And if you don't do the right things the first 3 years, I'll tell you where those things end up: rescue or dead. Rescue or dead. Some girl called me yesterday with some 2-year-old intact male Rottweiler. She didn't want to leave it anywhere. I said, it'll be dead in 2 years. She knows this friend of mine. She said, oh, well, I was told you could put a shock collar on it and hit it one time. It'll never do it again. I hung up on her. That's how snotty I've gotten to be. I'm terrible. I hung up on her because this woman wants a quick fix to the problem that she's created. Oh, so that's what you don't. When they're 2 and 3, you've got to get tough with these people, and you've got to let them know. When I started out, I was like you guys that are in your 20s and 30s that are doing it as a profession. I wanted to fix everything. If we could get a time machine, people would probably give me $200. I'd probably train this thing forever, trying to fix everything. Because I felt like I was failing if I didn't do that. Until I understood. One, if we can't change their perspective on the level of consciousness these things have, it'll never work. It'll never work. And if you said, what would you consider success as a dog trainer? That your work lived on. That your work lived on. Not that you made a bunch of money. I'm one step up from Amish. I don't even watch TV anymore. That your work lived on. That your work lived on. So you guys in your 20s and 30s need to be developing work that can live on. That's the measure of being a great dog trainer, that your work can live on in other trainers. And honestly, in the hearts of these people that in their golden age syndrome, part of the reason this dog was so incredible was you. It's got its upside, because they will come back. If these things live 20 years, I wouldn't see these people as often. That's what I say. Thank God they only live 12 years. If nothing else, you see these people every 12 years. And the last thing you say to them is, let's not, wait another 12 years. But, that's what you guys have to think of. When you get a dog in, I don't want you to say anything. You're just sizing it up, because if you said that dog is opening up its mouth and saying, good day, sir, man, it's not. It's sizing you up based solely on your actions, based on nothing you say. Who knows what these people have said to this dog at their house? Yesterday, and I haven't uploaded the video, but When I put the dogs out, I put Duke and Maverick out together. And then when it's time to come in, I go, Duke, Badik. So instead of doing that, I went, well, they didn't think anything strange of it. It's making the noises. It wants us to. That's how they think of us. They think of us as it. Not for mommy, who I love. It, that we're basing everything on its actions. And it's always going away, so we got to chase after it. Stupid thing runs away. You know, that's how we've got to make them see us. If they're not seeing us like that, it's kinetic, you guys. If this is you, and it doesn't even take that long in a lot of these videos. The second they touch it, the head turns. And if you're coming at it fighting, a lot of dogs, and this is what happens with these aggressive dogs, coming at it, and finally it just turns the table. Now it's coming at you. You know what I mean? That's why that worked with that little French bulldog share, because every dynamic was coming at it. I'm going to stop it, 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 and then it turned the tables. Once you can't guard against indifference. So anyway, guys, I'm not going to babble on. This crazy guy with Blazer texted me at 4 o'clock in the morning. Can I come get Blazer at 9? Well, now it's 9:45. He's still not here. He's been texting me all along and still isn't here. This guy's insane. And if you said, well, it takes one to know one, then it does, because this guy is a lunatic. Still isn't here. Anyway, you guys, that's what that dog Blazer is. I never come at that dog. And if you get aggressive dogs in the beginning, you do have to leave a leash on them. I want you guys, as a trainer, understand. If you see a dog with a leash on it in one of my videos, I'll go find that one German Shepherd, Layla. That thing was hinky as they come. Well, you couldn't move towards it at all. It would bite you. It was one of these ones they had left at a trainer, and they called back after an hour and said, it bit us, come get it. But, I want you just to think of that in your mind. What movement do I have towards this dog? And even if you just said, well, I'll try it for a week, you're going to have unbelievable success. And then you're going to see I was right. Nothing you do, even when you're I'm to the point now, even I'm giving them the treat. It's on the side. I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything to say, what can I do to augment this behavior? That's why these behaviors in mine get so ridiculous. That's why the behaviors are so ridiculous, because they're just over augmented. I should probably draw some line and say you're going too far with it, But I've got more time than you guys. If you've only got, I want you guys at home, if your trainer set a 1 month minimum, you can't do anything in less than that. You can't form any relationship. You can't change anything. You can try pile driving it. This is what you can do. You can pile drive it into the dog, but it's going to, at best it's going to come back to here. It's not going to have any sense of following the people. You need to show them. And, if the hardest thing they have to learn is, not to pet the dog, because people, well, we want to pet it, and all this stuff. Well, I didn't invent the dog. This is what I say to people. I didn't invent the dog, and we have to understand that if this is what you were doing before, possibly could be contributing to all these problems that are resulting in costly professional dog training. Oh yeah, that's how I say it to them. It's going to require costly professional training, and if dogs are open for suggestion, and they've had this thing since it was 8 weeks old, they clearly haven't come up with the right suggestions, because the suggestion from the time it was a very little puppy should have been, because that's when they're the most open for it. I'm seeing that now. You put blazing recalls on puppies. I'm going to upload the one I did yesterday. So it frustrates me and I see people with puppies and they're not putting a lot of movement on it. Because just that's who puppies are. They want to move around. Because I'll tell you why it works with little puppies, because you can be running alongside little puppies. So they do see you as, somebody that can move fast, and then you can continue to kind of fake that, by going away. So that's what I want you guys to think of. That's all it is. It's kinetic. So if the mistake that you're making is any of your momentum is going towards the dog, oh, Jimmy's here, and he better have cash. So then he says, I need to pay with a credit card. Okay, there's certain people you don't take credit cards. I have certain clients, and if you guys are trainers, you have to get these clients too. Cash only. Anyway, that's what it is. This is you, this is the dog. If you first meet somebody, and they said, let's go this way. After that, and when you went this way, it was big fun. You like their suggestions. Anyway, guys, I know you guys are thinking, how much can this woman talk about dogs? I just nonstop, all day, every day. That's why I do this. All right, you guys, I gotta go, and I couldn't see all the comments because I could not find my glasses. I think Shoebottom made them. I'll be right back with a little training videos. Bye. When in reality, it's them. Because if you said